Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. You're welcome to the virtual book launch of the book, A Poverty-Free World from Dream to Reality by Dr. Rotimi Nihinlola. My name is Ajetumobi Olumayowa, a director of programs at Financial Inclusion Africa. I will be the anchor of this program today. It's nice to have all of you here. Thank you for giving us your time to attend to this special occasion of this day. It's nice to have you. And I promise you by the end of this session, I think we all have one thing or the other to learn from this session today. Without wasting much of your time, I would like to go through a rundown of those that will be speaking today. And from there, you're going to hear them one after the other. Thank you, stay glued, and you're welcome. I'd like to introduce the chairman of today's occasion. The chairman of today's occasion is none other person than Dr. Remi Duyile. Dr. Remi Duyile was an ex-vice president of the Bank of America. She presently is the CEO of quite a number of organizations in the United States. And presently, she's a commissioner in the state of Maryland in the United States of America. Thank you, Dr. Duyile, for having you here today. It's nice having you here today. The next person I'm going to introduce to you is Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan. Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan is the CEO of Ecobank of Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for honoring us to be here today. The next is Dr. Waheed Olagunju. Dr. Waheed Olagunju is the ex-chairman, managing director of Bank of Industries of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us today on this book launch. I'm also going to introduce Mr. Tony Okpanachi. Mr. Tony Okpanachi is the MD CEO of Development Bank of Nigeria. That's a bank that's very much involved in poverty alleviation and development in Nigeria, MSMEs development. Thank you, Mr. Tony Okpanachi. It's nice having you on this platform today. None other person that I would like to introduce to you again is Mr. Ricardo. Mr. Ricardo is the MD of FHI Partners in the United States. Mr. Ricardo is well versed in the issue of development around the world. Thank you, Mr. Ricardo Michel, for being part of this occasion today. The book reviewer for this day is Mr. Kola Ayeye. Mr. Kola Ayeye will be taking us through the author's mindset and also the public mindset about the book. Mr. Kola Ayeye, thank you for gracing this occasion. We're waiting to hear from you. Let me tell you, the one person that has brought all of us together, Dr. Rotimi Nihinlola. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Thank you. We're celebrating you today. It's nice having you today. I'd like us to give Dr. Rotimi Nihinlola a round of applause for having us here today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Without wasting more time, we need to get into the program of the day. I'm going to invite the chairman for a welcome remarks. Dr. Duyile, it's time to have you on board. You're welcome.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Ajetumobi. Thank you for your great work and thank you for what your company does to make impact. And I want to appreciate Dr. Nihinlola and your fine institution for giving me this platform. I knew I was in for a treat, and a fun time when I saw that I was sandwiched by my fellow brothers of distinguished status in the financial sector and in the world at large. So good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. I am so excited to be here. I'm honored and humbled to be here with you today to celebrate. I want to call it celebrate. It's a launch, but it's a celebration of something that we know is possible, but for whatever reason, we have delayed it from being possible. That is poverty. Poverty is something that can be history, just like Dr. Nihinlola had alluded to in his book. And as we know, in the world, this is possible. A lot of things were, and they're no longer, they became history, but poverty is still hovering over us. And we know by the time we go through all of the stuff we're going to talk about today, we will see the possibilities, which are endless. I'm so excited about this particular topic because as a seasoned banker, I had my privilege of serving in corporate America for 17 years. I migrated from Nigeria at age 17. I've been here for a long time, still making my nation, Nigeria, proud. financial inclusion was so germane to my former employer, Bank of America. In those days, we knew that the power of financial literacy would liberate the mindset. It would bring that inclusion. It will bring the confidence. So this morning, this afternoon, this day, wherever you are going to be in for a treat. This book, Poverty Free World, From Dream to Reality. Dreams do become reality. It takes work. It takes intentionality. It takes integration. All of those things are in this book. So my goal this morning is to welcome you and to tell you to fasten your seatbelt. You're in for a treat. We have distinguished men and women from all walks of life, excellencies from various nations who are represented. But this is not just a talk shop. This is an action-oriented initiative. The book is a tool that we're going to use to create a movement for you and I to be part of it. And leadership can be from before, behind, and in front. So we are all going to lead from wherever we find ourselves. And this day, we are here to celebrate, to launch a book that is going to be a movement and a catapult for inclusion. Inclusion of financial literacy is relevant in every nation. I don't know of one country that does not see the significance of financial literacy, because it's a leveler. When you're financially literate, that's not the same as having a lot of money. You can have a lot of money and don't know how to manage. I had clients who had a lot of money and the money disappeared. It takes you understanding the concepts, the nuances. How do you integrate? How do you understand the basics? It starts from the basics. How do you have the mindset? You can have a lot of money, but you might not want to be a saver. So all of those things are in this book. It will teach you how your dream of whatever that dream is can be reality. And if you can get your finances and your financial understanding in order, trust me, poverty will disappear from all of us. Thank you very much. I know we're under a very tight schedule, and I know that the timekeepers are probably watching the time. We're going to keep dialoguing. I welcome you. I expect that you please get involved. Let this not be the first and the end of it. Let's continue to support what Dr. Nihinlola have put out there for us to work on. We are committed to supporting this and to ensuring that this becomes a change maker for humanity, so that at the end of it all of us can fit in somewhere. Wherever you are, you start where you are, and the habit is what you'll cultivate to take you to that next level. Welcome to this day, and we look forward to engaging with each and every one of you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Duyile. That was quite interesting, setting the tone for this agenda today. Without further delay, I will be calling on the first keynote speaker for today, and that's Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan. Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan is the CEO of Ecobank Nigeria. Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan, you're welcome on this platform. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
I'm still trying to look for you, sir.
Okay, you can see me on the screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I understand I have 5 minutes. Let me use this opportunity to join you all in congratulating the emergence of a call to action beyond the concept of talk, but leveraging reality and transforming dreams to reality. A poverty-free world, absolutely doable. I'm pleased that my good friend, colleague, who's been on this journey together, I think the first time I met Rotimi Nihinlola, PhD, was sometime in 2003, thereabout, and he was clutching a book, Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. That was my first encounter with Dr. Nihinlola. And he has proven that beyond just reading or gathering literature about this subject, he was willing to invest his time, talent, and treasure to bring this to reality. And he journeyed with the Pan-African Bank, and we indeed journeyed together for about 15 years on this journey of bringing value and removing poverty from the face of the globe. He is a thoroughbred professional and has worked with me at Ecobank across 33 countries in Africa, really preaching the gospel of eradicating poverty by bringing joy to the face and value to the families of every African, bringing financial services to every doorstep. Today is about this unique book, A Poverty-Free World, and I'd like to just draw some clarity here. First, I commend the audacity of the author, Dr. Nihinlola, moving from what is thinkable to what is possible, and now following through what is doable. He emphasizes the fact that poverty is a violation of fundamental human rights, and no one should allow that to continue. I think that puts it in the right framework so that the call to delivery becomes a matter of conscience and not just a matter of economic benefits. He said, the wealth in the world is enough to go round, so poverty is nonsensical. That is very striking, and I congratulate the author for bringing that out. Now is the time to act. For us at Ecobank, I can assure the author, Dr. Nihinlola, that the bank continues to bring banking to every grassroots, to every home, particularly in the microfinance, in the low-income earner space. Is defined poverty. Anyone who lacks basic food, shelter, education, basic health, basic items that defines you as a human being able to deliver your potential is poor. And poverty has no space given the resources that is available to mankind. The United Nations defined poverty in same manner, lack of basic access to food, shelter, clothing, and has gone on to say if you earn less than $1.90 per day, that person is extremely poor. But what is unique about what Dr. Nihinlola has done and receives my full commendation is that he has now taken his natural talent as a pastor, as a preacher of the word, and he's preaching now the gospel of zero poverty on the face of the earth. That is a very significant calling. That is something unique. And coming with that passion, I have confidence that this journey that he's embarked on, this calling that he's inviting everybody on the face of the earth to join, is indeed credible, and I'm confident that it will be successful. You would see in the book that he begins to talk exactly as a preacher at the end. I'm not doing a book review, but he begins to talk of let us move, let us move, let us move, let everyone. It's a call to action. Beyond this program, each of us, look around you. How are you able to support the eradication of poverty? In your area, if you're in Nigeria, if you're in Africa, technology enables us to do that a bit faster now. And it is important that to the extent that every human being, every adult, I mean, at least has access to one type of phone or the other, or a means of communication, even if it is by word of mouth. Before now, we've always been able to spread the news by various means. Let's go all out. The opportunity to do basic savings, the opportunity to have access to basic credit, the fact that those at the base of the pyramid actually have stronger integrity because what they have is their name. And he demonstrated that in how his own parents ensured that he got the opportunity to break out of poverty. I commend this book to anyone. to everyone on the face of the globe. I commend Dr. Rotimi Nihinlola for not just being a believer, but a practitioner. And I assure him that the institution I work for, Ecobank, will continue that journey of bringing financial services to every nook and corner of Africa in an affordable manner, in a convenient manner, in a sustainable manner, in a manner that dignifies the potentials of every African on the face of the earth. Once again, congratulations, Dr. Nihinlola, for this bold calling for life, because this is not a time-bound activity. And I wish you every success, and we will be part of that success by the grace of God. Once again, congratulations and all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan, the CEO of Ecobank of Nigeria. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your insightful ideas. And thank you for support to Dr. Nihinlola all through the year. And thank you for giving me that platform that made him be what he is and what he has come out to be today. Thank you very much. Without further delay, I'm going to call on Mr. Tony Okpanachi, who is the CEO of Development Bank of Nigeria. Mr. Tony Okpanachi, the floor is yours at the moment. I think you're somewhere around.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hear you, yeah.
Okay, good. First and foremost, let me join in congratulating Dr. Nihinlola for this wonderful work he has done. Really, I'm not surprised at Rotimi coming out with this book. In the course of my interaction with Rotimi in the last 20-something years, he's always been passionate about the issue of poverty. And I recall several conversations we will have by his side when he will call me, look, beyond this banking we're doing, how can we, return something to the society? Each time he reminds me that at the end of it all, if we don't lift people out of poverty, the society itself is at risk. So I really know and really commend him for taking this into action and then calling all of us to action. So Rotimi, let me join others in congratulating him for this wonderful work. For me, the issue of poverty, apart from personal experience, just like Rotimi also shared in his book, we all have experiences of people around us, immediate family, close family, relatives and friends and all that, that we really see poverty very, very close to us. So we can connect with everything that Rotimi was saying. One thing that came out clear for me was, before we always talk about reduction in poverty, but Rotimi has challenged everybody that let's eliminate it totally, and it's possible. And that is the main thing. That's the real new thinking that he has brought about it. From my days in consulting, where I participated in the study of informal sector of the Nigerian economy, to my current role as the CEO of the Development Bank of Nigeria, a bank that is focused strictly on micro, small, and medium enterprises, I've come into contact with so many issues revolving around poverty. In Nigeria, we have over 41 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. And out of that, 90% of them are micro businesses. And when you talk about micro businesses, those are where you see a lot of people with sometimes less than 1,000 naira in terms of what they have available for them to live on, to trade on, and to do every other thing. So I come to really connect with all the issues around that. We've had issues around financial inclusion. I know banks in Nigeria have been trying to do so many things to bring many people onto the financial platform to enable them to have access. From my experience in DBN, we noticed that it's quite, for you to even make any impact, really, you need to really increase the financial inclusion, basic financial services, and also access to credit for these micro businesses. Because in Nigeria, the major problem we see, well, public sector can provide employment, but the greatest employment are provided by these micro, small, and medium enterprises. And for you to be able to deal with the issue of poverty, you need to really tackle that seriously. So I commend Rotimi for this, and I can assure you that the Development Bank of Nigeria, we're going to partner with you. It falls strictly in line with our mandate, and we're going to work with you to see how we can also help in achieving this objective set forth. Once more, let me join others in congratulating you for this great job you've done, and I look forward to more successes. Thank you very much. All.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tony Okpanachi. That was quite insightful. That was quite interesting. And thank you for the role you're doing at, your work at Development Bank of Nigeria. I'm always making a mistake of calling it Nigeria Development Bank, but it's Development Bank of Nigeria. Pardon me for the mistakes the other time. We're not going to take too much time. We're going to have an international perspective to someone who has been deeply involved in the issue of development across the globe. It's my pleasure and privilege to invite on stage Mr. Ricardo Michel. Mr. Ricardo Michel, the floor is yours right now.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
You're good.
Excellent, thank you. Well, first off, I'd really like to thank the organizers at Financial Inclusion Africa for the invitation to participate today on this panel with such esteemed guests. It's also good to be reconnected with some old acquaintances like Dr. Olagunju, who I first met years ago in my Exim days, and he was then just the deputy to Madame Maputo at the Bank of Industry. And of course, I'd like to thank and congratulate and echo the sentiments of everyone in congratulating Dr. Nihinlola for writing what I find to be such a purposeful book and bringing a much needed perspective into this conversation around poverty eradication. In reading his work, I was glad to see the passion that I've witnessed in our conversations over the years being articulated in such a concise manner that's easy for all to understand. There were several themes and messages that resonated for me throughout this book, but I would summarize the main takeaways within the three following aspects: perspective, paradigms, and possibilities. Perspectives. Not only does Dr. Nihinlola bring his research, practice, and professional experience together in this book, but more importantly, his perspective is rooted in that of someone who understands poverty firsthand and knows what it takes to overcome it at the individual level. So with this depth of understanding, this serves as an anchor for the multidimensional view of poverty and the systemic approaches required to eradicate it. It also provides a well-grounded sense of urgency around this very complex issue. As far as paradigms, in interrogating not only what we do to address poverty, but how we do it, Dr. Nihinlola challenges several paradigms that have driven our work in this space. So the importance, nuance of poverty alleviation, reduction versus the responsibility we have of poverty eradication. Looking at poverty not as a product of that's self-inflicted or just a natural part of the hierarchy of the human condition, but really as a product of society's mismanagement of its resources. Also just challenging some fundamental things and questioning, is charity appropriate to eradicate poverty? When I think of the possibilities, it's important in his lexicon is this ultimate goal centered on the prospect that poverty eradication is possible. And we have the tools, resources, and know-how to live in a poverty-free world. A poverty-free world benefits us all. So, but in order to effectively achieve this goal, he also provides a blueprint, which is driven by partnership between the public and private sector. As a former, and I say reformed investment banker, I spent my last 18 years in development, exploring this nexus of public and private sector engagement. I see this as a key to long-term sustainable development impact. So whether it was my work in supporting SMEs at the African Development Foundation, or structuring energy and infrastructure project finance transactions with the U.S. Exim Bank, or leading USAID's private sector engagement effort as the head of the Center for Transformational Partnerships, or even now, as the managing director for FHI Partners, where we focus on accelerating development impact through collective action with private sector and foundations. For me, partnership in achieving these solutions to what seems to be intractable development issues. So, in my core, I admit, I'm a pathological collaborator. My parent organization is the Global Human Development Organization, FHI 360. And as a large NGO, our approach to economic participation and FHI 360's legacy of nearly 20 years of experience designing and managing programs to improve livelihoods, financial inclusion, skills building, especially among youth and women, they strongly align with Dr. Nihinlola's charge to eradicate poverty. These proven approaches empower the individual as an economic actor while working to ensure supportive and enabling systems and institutions that promote a win-win value proposition with the private sector. So as we look to the changing landscape and incorporate innovation in our work, FHI 360 has been a proud promoter and innovator in the digital financial inclusion space because of its catalytic potential for economic growth. Through research-based approaches, we incorporate digital financial models in our programs that strengthen economic resilience and connect underserved to the formal economy. Now more than ever, as COVID-19 restricts economic opportunities, expanding digital financial inclusion and digital access offers pathways to continue income-generating activities during lockdowns, reach the most vulnerable, reduce gender inequality, and spur innovation. Now, all that work is great, and I'm very proud of the impact of our body of work. However, Dr. Nihinlola's book is a clarion call that we must do more, not out of altruism, not out of charity, but really out of a responsibility we have to us all. So for that, I thank you, Rotimi, for sharing your important voice. I congratulate you on your seminal work, and I accept your challenge to do much better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ricardo Michel. Thank you for accepting the challenge. I think by the time we leave here today, every one of us is going to accept the challenge to do better. Without wasting more time, it's an honor and privilege to invite Dr. Waheed Olagunju, the ex-Chief Executive Officer of Bank of Industry, Nigeria. Dr. Waheed Olagunju, it's nice to have you here. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate Rotimi Nihinlola for providing this platform for all of us out here today to reconvene. Because from the various introductions, we share a lot of things in common. From Patrick to Ricardo to Dr. Duyile to myself. It's been a journey. We are all passionate about Africa's development, about eradicating poverty, about ensuring that living standards are high on the African continent. And in our previous roles, we've committed a lot to this. And I must congratulate Rotimi, as others have been congratulating him for sustaining the initiative that has brought all of us out here today. It's indeed my pleasure to come together with brothers, friends, and sisters of several decades, of several years, many years, to come together to join hands with Rotimi to see how once again we can give another big push to global initiatives at eradicating poverty. Coincidentally, we're embarking on this journey. In the last 10 years, for the decade of action, for instance, the Sustainable Development Goals, we have 10 years between now and 2030 to eradicate poverty in the world. And this is coming after the Millennium Development Goals that were launched in 2000. And all of us have been involved in efforts at eradicating poverty on the African continent and indeed the world. So Dr. Nihinlola coming up with this new tool, it's going to have a catalytic effect in this campaign. Essentially, we're talking about a world sustainable growth, inclusive and diverse. Africa, for instance, has a huge population. A huge population could be an asset, it could be a liability. If it's productive, then it is an asset. If it's unproductive, then it is a liability. In other words, the growth rate should be higher than the population growth rate. And that's a way of ensuring that the cake becomes bigger and be a lot more for all of us to share when it comes to sharing the cake. Bank of Industry, Ecobank, Okpanachi used to be in Ecobank. Patrick and Rotimi are still in Ecobank. I have led the Bank of Industry. Ricardo used to be in the Exim in those days in the U.S. and our different callings, we are still committed to the task of eradicating poverty on the African continent and indeed the world. What I would say is that for financial inclusion to be increased, which will lead to economic inclusion as well as inclusive growth and development, we need to build the capacity of our people on the African continent, because that's the demand side. Over the years, we've concentrated on the supply side, making credit available, making funds available. But then what is the absorptive capacity of those who are supposed to make use of these resources? Because it's only when they are able to access the resources and make productive use of those resources, that's when they will be self-employed. That's when they can create employment for other people. That's where they can earn income that will enable them meet the basic needs of life: accommodation, food, education, and that's what will lift them out of poverty. So I believe that, like Rotimi too, we should all continue to ensure that we build the capacity of our people on the African continent. We're lucky that the youth bulge is in favor of Africa, and this is an age, we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, and luckily, our African youth seem to have an edge in the area of ICT. They are doing quite well in this area, and this is what I think we need to leverage to drive financial inclusion, because fintech is playing an important role in this process. If you take example Nigeria, with a population of about 206 million today, the GSM telephone subscriber base is almost 200 million as well, with about 120, 140 million having access to internet. So we can leverage the expansion in the ICT space to also drive financial inclusion, to digitalize our various economies. That's an edge we have on the African continent. We all saw what the current ADB president did while he was agric minister in Nigeria. He introduced the electronic wallet through which farmers could use their telephones to buy farm inputs, including fertilizer. So I believe we need to leverage a lot on technology on the African continent, and you don't need to be super literate to be able to apply, to be able to operate a mobile phone. A lot of farmers in rural areas are able to do this, and this is giving Africa an edge in terms of financial inclusion. Because the more financial inclusion we have, the higher the potentials for economic inclusion, as well as efforts at ensuring we have inclusive, sustainable, and diverse economic growth and development on the African continent. There are many initiatives. We talked about the SDGs, the African Development Bank. They have the high fives. By the time you achieve the high fives, you would have accomplished about 80 to 90% of the SDGs. The African Union has the AU Agenda for 2063 that was launched in 2013. It's a 50-year program that has broken down into 10 years implementation phases. We're in the first decade now. There's a lot to be done. And if you look at the nexus between finance and economic growth and development, financial sector of national economies have considered growth drivers of most GDPs of most economies in the world. So that's what I believe we can also do on the African continent. And that's what Rotimi sets out to achieve with his new book, which contains all the tools and is leveraging on the experiences acquired in the last 2 decades. We've been together at this. I remember we were together in Arusha, Tanzania, for the Africa-Asia Business Forum. This was organized by the government of Japan. And working with Ecobank, the Bank of Industry, and UNDP, we tried to see how we could deepen financial inclusion on the African continent, and working, of course, with the African Development Bank. We fielded a joint mission to the ADB headquarters in Tunisia, when the ADB was still in Tunis. So it's been a long journey, and we can't get tired. We just have to keep going. And I believe the momentum that is being unleashed today will be sustained for the next 10, 20 years, even though we can't be as active over the next decade or two as we have been over the years. But in whatever capacity we find ourselves, we believe we have important roles to play in this campaign. And this publication will serve as a useful guide for up-and-coming bankers or development practitioners who want to know about how we got to where we are today and possible ways out of the wood to prosperity, how to get to the promised land in terms of elevating poverty, eradicating poverty in the world. So once again, Rotimi, congratulations, and I congratulate all of us too on this call for coming together, rededicating ourselves to global initiatives at eradicating poverty in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Waheed Olagunju. That was going through the years and what has been happening and what we can do better. Thank you. Thank you for the support all through the years, and thank you for making it down here today. Without further delay, we're getting into the heart of what we are here to do today. Without too much story or anything to say, I'm going to invite Mr. Kola Ayeye. I think Mr. Kola Ayeye is here. He is the book reviewer today, and it's an honor also to have Mr. Kola Ayeye here. Mr. Kola Ayeye, the floor is on you, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, you're loud and clear, sir.
Excellent. Let me join my voice to congratulating Rotimi for an excellent work, well done, in writing this piece, A Poverty-Free World, From Dream to Reality, New Perspectives, from Research, Practice, and Experience. I think this is an invaluable addition to the repertoire of materials for the eradication of poverty. And I indeed join Mrs. Duyile, Patrick, Ricardo, and Dr. Olagunju in congratulating Rotimi for putting this work together. My job is to try and go through this book in 10 minutes. And permit me to say that this assignment that Rotimi has taken on, I think he brings 5 important qualities to this assignment. The first is his experience as someone who himself has had to grow through and conquer poverty. The second is his Christian persuasion as a practicing Christian with very strong Christian beliefs. And the third is his personal passion, somebody who is passionate about eradicating poverty. Those are the first 3 things. The last 2 things are his professional focus and experience as a banker that has been engaged in financial inclusion and taking banking services to the bottom of the pyramid. And then as an academic who has earned, lastly, as an academic who has earned a doctorate in human services. So these 5 things reflect in this book, a book of 106 pages, made up of 14 chapters and a short conclusion. The book is in 4 parts. Now, I mentioned that Rotimi brings 5 things. The first 3 of those things is experience, his Christian persuasion, and his personal passion makes him more of a preacher, preaching about the eradication of poverty. And we see those 3 things more than the other 2 parts in the first 9 chapters, or the first 2 parts of the book. Essentially, in those 9 chapters, chapters 1 to 9, Rotimi is making it eloquently clear that the world has no excuse for poverty. He, in fact, laments the existence of poverty. There is valuable information, like an academic, 22,000 children dying daily, a rich world that has a lot of poor people, supported with statistics of the gross per capita, of the per capita income of many of the rich countries. But what comes true is his experience, his Christian persuasion, and his personal passion. A rigor of saying we don't have to have a world of poor people, and that we need a world where we need to make our objectives even better than they are. That the world seems to pay lip service to poverty eradication, whereas what it is doing is poverty reduction. He, for example, points out that $1.90 would only eliminate extreme poverty, that you need a daily income of $5.50 to totally eradicate poverty. he points out that whenever the big problems the world has faced have been solved. That some of the biggest health challenges, it mentions smallpox, it mentions darkness, that the world deploys technology to solve them. I'm sure if the book was written after the COVID-19, he will have pointed out the speed with which the world is rushing a COVID vaccine onto the shelves because it's a problem the world wants to solve. So in these 9 chapters of 2 parts, we see the preacher, the passionate man who grew from poverty, saying that we can end this, we should end this. In fact, he calls this his name. He says, in the Christian palace, it is sin and it should be ended. So that's what we see in those first 9 chapters. The academic, with some more academic rigor and exploration of theoretical underpinnings, comes in the 3rd chapter, where he shares with us Adam Smith's definition of poverty, the World Bank's definition of poverty, and some other scholarly definitions of poverty. Essentially, you can put them into categories. Those that are referring to quality of life and access to resources. And some more recent thoughts that talk about not just access to resources, but capacity to compete for resources and create wealth. So from chapter 10, we start to see Rotimi, the academic, exploring the theoretical underpinnings of poverty and laying a foundation for how to approach the defeat of poverty. I like particularly 2 points, which he points out among several others in these 2 sections. Number 1, he points out that charity cannot solve poverty. He estimates that based on total global charity, even if that was equitably distributed, poor people will live on less than 5 cents a day and they will still be abysmally poor. That's one important thing which he points out amongst several. The second, which I would like to point attention to, is the fact that he says the private sector can take on a major role in serving the poor in defeating poverty. So we have the professional and the academic coming into play in the 3rd part and coming to the conclusion that this can be done. And he then goes on to the conclusion that the way forward is for all of us, to move forward and cure poverty. The actions he proposes include structural reforms, that the policymakers must be multidimensional, not unidimensional or not just monetary. That they must approach it in a multidimensional way, looking at access to all of the things that make for well-being, and that poverty eradication should focus on prevention, not just on curing, as prevention is better than cure. So Dr. Nihinlola has done an excellent work, for which I commend him. I wish that everyone will get copies of this and read it. You will meet both the preacher and the professional. And may I dare say that in supporting Dr. Nihinlola to go forward, he has laid a foundation for what will come next. Because clearly this is a passion. If you permit me to mention, the first time I met Rotimi about over 20 years ago, we were working in a great financial institution, one of the best financial institutions in Nigeria. And I dare say, one that is committed to the highest ethical standards. But I'm not surprised that Rotimi found his way out of that organization, because the poor were not their focus. The poor and poverty alleviation and poverty eradication has always been Rotimi's focus. I just want to end this book review on a note by saying that Rotimi, the first 9 chapters of this book, where we saw you as the preacher, is great. Unfortunately, we have a world where people aren't going to solve the poverty problems because it is bad or because we preach. What the world is going to relate to is the part of you that we saw in the last the last 2 parts, the 5 chapters, where we saw the professional and the academic. So with this great foundation that you have laid, I will say we look forward to your next book, where you will explore in 3 things in more rigor. Number 1, how can we present eradication of poverty as a major business opportunity to the world? That if we add $4 per day if we run a world where people earn, where the bottom of the pyramid earns $4 per day, it is a 4.5 trillion business. Perhaps if they see a 4.5 trillion business, it may interest them. The second is that you talked about structural reforms, that perhaps also we need to look at the correlation between corruption and poverty, and the correlation between political transformation and well-run countries and absence of poverty. So Rotimi, you've done an excellent job. I commend you. I think we are always, I mean, we should all lay our hands on this and join in the dream, and we are waiting on you for the next steps. Thank you very much. Well done, Dr. Nihinlola.
Thank you very much, my Mr. Kola, for a wonderful book review. Without wasting much time, we are now at the main item for this day. And the main item for this day is actually the launch of this book. And permit me to actually share on a slide the intention of this organization, Financial Inclusion Africa, partnering with Dr. Nihinlola on the action that is needed to be taken on poverty eradication as succinctly put in the book. I have my copy of the book here. I know a couple of us, we have a copy of our book here. And this is a platform that we will encourage everybody to have a copy of this book. Dr. Nihinlola is very, very much interested in partnering with Financial Inclusion Africa, first, to make sure that the knowledge about poverty alleviation is established in all citadel of learning, which is various Africa universities, colleges, and institutes around the world. That is one of the things he's so passionate about. And that is one thing that we want to achieve here today. Outside the fact that we want everybody to have a copy of this book, we're looking forward to the situation where we can get this book across to over 200 universities across the world. The objective is for all of us to work together with stakeholders to inspire and equip and mobilize stakeholders for positive action to end poverty in Africa. So you have the opportunity to launch an individual access to the book, that each person can get the book on Amazon, and e-copies is available, and it's free on Kindle Unlimited. The author has been magnanimous to actually go ahead to put this there. The other thing you can help us to do is to help to distribute across the stakeholder groups. The first one we're looking at is academia, universities across Africa, main libraries for general access, departmental libraries for students in development fields, economic, social sciences, and political sciences. The target, like I said earlier on, is 200 universities, and we plan to have 50 copies for each university. I want to use this opportunity also to thank Dr. Nihinlola, because as of today, he has reduced the cost of the book by 50%. So today, the book is going at $5. So for whatever decision you choose, we will help you to distribute or to send it across to any university of choice that you are going to make today. We need your support for the remaining balance by sponsors like you, because Dr. Nihinlola, in his own efforts, has reduced the cost of the book. So we're looking forward to your support here today. Please, if you are, you can put in your name in the chat box, and for whichever university you want, for whichever organization you want, we will surely make sure that we get it. I don't want to take much time. It's time for the chairman to actually come on board to talk, have a recap, and also to start with the launching of the book. Dr. Duyile, I know you're still somewhere around here. Please, can you have the floor, please, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here. Wow, what a powerful experience once again. I want to start by appreciating all of the keynote speakers, the book launcher, all of my brothers who have spoken before me. This experience we're having right now is beyond the book launch. You would agree with me that we don't need to really cajole anyone to invest in what we're here for today. Even the benefit, the knowledge that you've garnered as participants who are on, we have almost 170 of us. The information you've gathered right now tells us that this is a book that not just have the content, has the network, and has the wherewithal. I mean, Dr. Nihinlola, congratulations, sir. I am knowing you, not, I mean, just very shortly, but what I've sat here and heard people talk about inspires me as an individual. And it tells me that what you have is a passion. And when you have a passion, there will be provision. And I want to submit to all of us that we should be part of the provision. When Mr. Akinwuntan spoke, Mr. Okpanachi, Ricardo, Michel, Dr. Waheed, Olagunju, all of the, and also Mr. Kola, Ayeye, everybody spoke beautifully. Rarely do you have a setup whereby there is a tool. This is a blueprint. Did you ask me? This book, I have my copy too, by the way. It's a blueprint to financial success, not just from the economic piece, from the developmental piece. I think it was Dr. Olagunju, good to see you, said, I mentioned it, that we have not just bankers in the house, we have developmental practitioners. There's a difference, and there's a difference. And someone mentioned that once upon a time, Dr. Nihinlola was part of an institution. I think it was Mr. Ayeye that said that, I remember, that he was with an institution, but he soon left that institution to where he is now because of what it was regarding his belief system. Now, to the glory of God, we cannot hide that religious part of it. To the glory of God, he's birthed something that's great, something that is a blueprint for all of us. Very easy read. My favorite part of the book is chapter 9, and I think somebody mentioned that poverty is a risk to everyone. It is a risk. And because we know that, and we've all spoken beautifully, every single one of the speakers, I can't wait to get this recording, all of the professionals that spoke. If you are just an attendee and you hear this, just hearing the information you've heard today is worth you saying, you know what? I'm going to leverage a university. I'm going to support a university and make sure our generation coming understand what we didn't understand. And that's what we're here today to encourage all of you. It's holiday season. It's a season that you want to give something meaningful. And for $5, I mean, that is a reasonable amount to sow into a call to action that is beyond anyone. This is a legacy project. It's a legacy project because we want our Africa to be great again. We want our Africa to continually shine so that we are the leaders in what happens in Africa. And without financial inclusion, without financial education, we will never be able to be confident. I mean, there's so much that has gone around today. So we at Legacy Premier Foundation, we're going to support some universities. Not only that, we're going to see how to even introduce it to some bookstores and see how can other people, because this is just, it's not just for Africa, it's for the world. Every country needs information on financial inclusion. And what array of people we have gathered today. What an array of people. Dr. Nihinlola, congratulations, sir. This shows your person. It shows your network. Show me your network. Then your network is inevitable. So we know for sure that we're around great network of great men and women of stature. It's time for us to take action. It is time for us to see how do we leverage with our network of people. And I want to even dare to say, let's even open it up to some of the high schools or secondary schools, because we want to catch them young. Let's figure how to find a way to let our younger upcoming university children and young leaders understand about financial literacy. So without further ado, we know that some of you are here, you have made up your mind what you're going to do. So that you can hold yourself accountable, we ask that you please put something in the chat box so we can follow up with you. Or if it's easier for you to touch base later, fine. But I would encourage us to put it on the chat box. Your commitment, nothing is too little. Your commitment doesn't have to be from your pocket. Your commitment can be from your network, because you've sat in on this. You've heard what have been spoken. You've heard about why poverty is a risk to everyone, anywhere. When there's poverty, then there will be unrest. Unrest will lead to so many heartaches. And so at this point, let's dip into our pocket. Let's get our pen to paper. Let's find ways to suggest how we can make this a global movement. It's a call to action. And I think we all heard the action and the call loud and clear. We have a blueprint in this book. This book has a blueprint of what we need to do now. And it starts with you and I. It doesn't matter what level or status you think you are. This is for all of us, everybody, old, young, rich, poor. Everybody needs information so that they can be better. So now is your opportunity to sow into this great work that's going to continue with the financial inclusion partnership that we heard. I'm sure we are going to hear from them in the future on what we're going to do. We're going to have series of road shows, for the lack of better word, whereby we can get people together to talk about this. This is priceless information of experience, of expertise, of faith, of even history that have turned, dream that have turned to reality. So my brothers and sisters, wherever you are in the world, I know we're all representing various countries, please take action. Let's begin the movement. And congratulations again, Dr. Nihinlola, as we wait to hear you speak, and also to say that at Legacy Premier Foundation, we are supporting, we're going to be before you, behind you, within, and just creating access to whatever is needed to make sure that this voice of financial inclusion is included in everything that we do. Thank you so very much for this great opportunity. Good to meet you all, and I look forward to great successes that will come out of this movement. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the chairman of the day. You have spoken so well. Thank you for launching the book. One, with your influence. Secondly, with your resources. And thirdly, with your wealth of experience. Thank you so much. You're indeed welcome. This is a time for us to go ahead and launch the book. I've put in, for those who want to make a direct commitment today, I've put in an account number where you can actually write and make payments right now. In case you are not able to do that right now, you can pledge your commitment in the chat box that we have on Zoom right now. You can do that for us. For those who are making direct commitment right away, you can also put it in the chat box. To be honest with you, Dr. Nihinlola has been so conservative, permit me to use that word, and so considerate that he said this is not a money bag launching. It's a movement for action. And what he wants is actually for everybody to be able to get this book. For distribution and sponsorship, kindly put in your name and what you're doing. What he wants is, he wants knowledge about poverty eradication to be distributed, to be shared, so that the war against poverty can be won. And definitely, I can tell you, Financial Inclusion Africa, we've been on the forefront of this, and I can agree with everyone here that it is possible for us to end poverty. We have enough resources for everybody living on the continent to be able to live very well with the most possible basic amenities of life. Please go in the chat box right now. We're waiting where you can get the book. You can actually put in your chat and comment. This is a time for action. We're waiting. Since some people are putting in their commitment right away, please still taking time to do that. While I'm waiting for you to do that, I think I won't do justice enough if we just call it off, because we're calling it off soon, maybe in the next couple of minutes. But it will be a privilege to hear Dr. Nihinlola speak to us. Dr. Nihinlola, the convener of this occasion, I guess you must be highly elated to see the crop of people. We don't only have quantity, we have quality at this gathering today. And it shows a kind of person you have been. It shows a kind of support you are getting from people all across the world. Here today, we have people from academia. We have people from University of South Africa. I acknowledge Professor Yinka David West from Lagos Business School. Thank you, everybody. Dr. Nihinlola, please, over to you. I don't want to take much of your time.
All right. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me? Okay, great.
Good, sir.
All right. First, I want to thank God for this event. Honestly, I never knew that it will be of this scale. I mean, the caliber of the launch team, the chair, keynote speakers, and the book reviewer, and all the special guests, and all the guests, and all the participants from all around the world. I mean, this is the Lord's doing. Let me put it this way. I mean, look at the chair, Dr. Remi Duyile. She is very, very busy. I can assure you. She's wearing a lot of hats. In corporate America, she's CEO that. Spiritually, she's a minister also. She preaches. Politically, she's a commissioner in Maryland, United States. She's very busy, but she is here. And for all the keynote speakers and the book reviewer, I don't have enough time to talk about each and every one of them. They are captains of industry in Nigeria, but in terms of their contributions to my journey, I don't have enough time to speak about it. I mean, Dr. Mr. Patrick Akinwuntan is a champion. I mean, in every way. I need a whole book to write his contributions. Mr. Kola is pastor. I don't know whether you can remember, about 60 years ago, he called me one morning and said, Rotimi, do you have your passport ready? He bought a ticket and flew me to London. He said, let's go have a meeting. We went to have a conversation on a project that will be empowering people in Nigeria. Can you imagine? That's like 2 decades ago. I mean, that's the kind of people that we have in here. Tony Okpanachi, for many years, like he said, we'll be talking about how do we empower people, you know, etc. So I'm not surprised today he's running and Development Bank of Nigeria, which is the foremost institution of the government of Nigeria for MSME support. Ricardo, Michel, my friend, in America, many institutions, but the same vision. We've been working together to do projects in Africa for empowerment. And then Dr. Waheed, like I said, from Arusha, Tanzania to Japan, all over the world, in the last 2 decades, mobilizing partnership and resources of how to develop Nigeria and Africa. And there are so many people on this call today. I can't mention everybody's name, Mr. Deshola, both for Nigeria and overseas. There are a lot of executive banks here, deputy MDs of different banks, of Access Bank, Roosevelt, of U.B.A, Ayeye, MD of U.B.A UK is here. He has been calling me since, and it was the time, when are you coming in? We have a lot of people. We have Tude Kuponi, MD of Hope Bank. We have quite a lot of people here, Ronke Wilson, Emilia. A lot of people are here from across the world, and from Europe. We have Lafati, Chairman of Lafati. We have Sabila Dean in the UK. We have Graham Seal from America. So many people are here. I have a lot of friends in Nigeria, in the UK, in Canada, who have been with me for like 2 decades. They know about this passion and they share it. I can't mention everybody's name. Abel Anko in Nigeria, Fetukuntide Anko in the UK, Dayo Anko in Canada. A lot of people. I have a lot of church family in Nigeria, church family in Togo, church family, you know, in South Africa. They are here. I have a lot of professional colleagues in Nigeria, in Togo, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone. A lot of them are here. I have, of course, I have my family here. My wife. You have to come and show your face. Please come over. I can't tell you all the, madam. I can't tell you enough all the sacrifices this woman has made on this journey. You know, thank you.
Especially our meetings in the night.
Yes, yeah. She knows that in the night when we are preparing, she's there arranging the day. Excellent woman. And then I have my children, Wura, Olubi, and Olida. All of them are with me in this journey. I have a lot of my family here, brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles. I have a big uncle here, Dr. S.A.N. S.A.N. is here. I have a lot of them here. I have my in-laws here are here. They are all here. And then finally, financial inclusion, Africa. Thank you very much. They are the ones who actually brought this idea. They approached me and said, Doctor, this is a fantastic book. The message is strong. Its poverty is very relevant. We need to put a lot of energy behind it. A lot of people need to have conversations around it, which is happening now. So thank you very much, Oluwajetumobi. You have done a great work of putting this together. In closing, I want to say that this event is not an end in itself. I think the chairman rightly said it. It's going to trigger so many actions. We are going to move, after this, we're going to have a lot of sessions. We sit down with governments across Africa, the NGO community, key players in the private sector, public sector, people in diaspora, people in Africa. We're going to have a lot of conversations, and beyond conversation, practical actions are going to happen. Because we believe, as the book summarizes, we believe that this thing, this problem can be ended. And this is not a figment of our imagination. It's a reality. It's a belief that we have. It's a belief that people have. And I can tell you from this book, there are two people that I quoted who have similar belief. We have Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who has said, I quoted him in this book, said there is nothing new about poverty. What is new is that we now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty. The real question is whether we have the will. That is what Dr. Martin Luther said. And then finally, Professor Mohamed Yunus, a Nobel laureate, many of us know him. He said, I have come to believe deeply and firmly that we can create a poverty-free world if we want to. If we have the will, we can do something about it. And we have the will, and we are ready. And I believe that all of us who are around this table today, we have shared interests. So we believe we are going to work together. We will do something about this. We're going to end this. This hardship is unnecessary. In the book, you will see, as I mentioned also, it's a human creation. This problem, the human creation, we can correct it. And I believe that the journey is on, and then we'll do something about it. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, and God bless.
Thanks. Without much delay, Dr. Remi Duyile, can you please give us your closing remark? And that will be it for us today.
Okay. Once again, I want to congratulate Dr. Nihinlola. I want to also congratulate Financial Inclusion, Mr. Ajetumobi, and your entire team. I want to also celebrate all of the captains of industries that have spoken, that took time out of their business schedule to pour into all of us, because I picked up some nuggets. Hearing them all speak, you can see where their heart is as leaders now, leaders who are retired and not tired. So I want to say thank you to everyone, for all of the participants that have stayed with us from the beginning till now. We were strong, at least throughout. We had over 150 people at every single time. That's a reflection of who Dr. Nihinlola is. That's a reflection of his caliber of network. The lessons learned and the takeaways from such an environment that we just created now, because we just created history right this minute. So if you're part of this, you are part of history. And the journey to take it forward is in your hand. And it's going to be an inclusive journey. It's not an island, it's not an isolated journey. We are all going to be vulnerable with each other and reach out to get help, reach out to communities that maybe have the same passion that we have. Together, all of us that are present today came here to support a vision, a mission, a man of the vision. The vision didn't just happen overnight. It's a long nursed vision. And now God has made provision through having a blueprint. I call this book a blueprint to success. This is a blueprint to your financial inclusion success. And now that we're part of this, let us be about the business. Let us not make this gathering a one-off and say, oh, it's done and done. That is not the intention of Dr. Nihinlola. When I had the opportunity of speaking with him privately, his yearning is to ensure that this continues. It's not just to bring his array of network and friends to the world, but it's to show the world that with men and women like us, we can start a movement. We can move mountains, and we can get rid and send poverty where it belongs in the world. Poverty needs to be history, like we have so many histories. He said it in his book. I didn't say it, I'm paraphrasing. It needs to be history. Let's be part of the movement that will make poverty history in our lives. Poverty creates a lot of havoc. We want comfort. You could be all rich and famous. If you are surrounded by people who have poverty mentality or poverty as a whole, you will not have your peace. So just from a selfish perspective, if you will, this is about you. This is not just about them. It is about us. And I include myself, because when we create this platform, when we use this blueprint, when we leverage the network that has been created, together, we are going to crack the code of this poverty. And I can assure you, something beautiful have started. It might not end in our lifetime, but it's a movement that can never be stopped. It is unstoppable. And let's continue to work together. Let's network. We've met some new people we've never seen before. Let's continue this conversation. Purpose to make this a dream come true, that you want to be part of something historical. This is a groundwork. This is a good foundation to be part of it. And as you serve, the Creator will serve you back. What you make happen for people, your own helpers of destiny will come and they will support you. This is a vision beyond Dr. Nihinlola. This is a vision for humanity. Let's be part of it. I'm excited. I'm ready, Dr. Nihinlola. I'm ready to see what we can do to ensure that we're part of this movement and this call to action. As you have brought this to the world, I pray that the Lord will support you in all that you need to do and that His name will be glorified, because that's what it's all about. His name will be glorified so that the blessings can come in abundance for all of us, and so shall it be. Thank you all very much. I'm honored to be on this platform. I look forward to this journey with all of you, and I know that God is faithful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have come to the end of this occasion today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for leading us through. Thank you all our keynote speakers. It's time for pleasantries. You can unmute yourself or stop your video and have a